Hello? There we go. I don't know why my mic disappeared. Whoop. All right, I can see chat. I should move this over a little bit so I can see all of chat. All right. This is going to be kind of a yap sesh today. There's a couple things I want to talk about. I have some footage from the last time I streamed, just to gameplay elements that I want to talk about. But I think I'm going to start with some basic shit. I want to get some short clips, so we're going to do how to. One second, let me get the game up. How to have impact as a solo queuer. I'd like to do a couple of shorts just explaining like how to take certain positions on the map on certain maps and go over things one by one. This way, I just have some content to put out there that's not just clips. That's not just clips. Damn, this guy's inventory is insane. All right. Let's load up Counter-Strike. Yo, what's up? I'm still thinking about collabing with your buddy. I watched his stream the other night. It was pretty good. But then he started playing Power World, and I just don't have any interest in that, so I didn't watch. I just want to catch him live one more time, and then I'll give you an answer. Uh, yeah. Yeah, I think it might have been the night that you sent me the message. I went for a walk and I tried watching him on my walk, and for some reason, Twitch just wasn't working on my phone. I guess without an internet connection, it just uh, wasn't connecting well. So I had to wait until I got home. By the time I got home, he was done playing Counter Strike. So I just didn't get a good. I just, like I said, I don't care about Power World, so I wasn't gonna check out that stream. So just the next time he's on playing Counter Strike, I'll check him out. I might branch into some other stuff too. I was thinking about doing, namely Dota, RuneScape, and Tekken 8. Because I'm pretty good at Tekken 8, similar to Counter Strike. And then Dota I play for fun, and RuneScape I've been playing my whole life. So I think that might be some good content. We'll see. We'll see what that's about. But for now, I'm really just on today to record some videos. I don't know if I'm gonna play at all. But I definitely need to get some videos recorded. I need to do some content. I need to get some stuff out there. Cause like my previous long form factor videos didn't do that well. I guess I was talking about more like mindset type stuff, and I don't think that translates super well to a larger audience. I think once I have an audience, it'll do pretty well, but like trying to, acquire viewers, it's tough. Gotcha. I Like I said, I saw him on. I just, for whatever reason, I was having issues connecting. Not his problem. It was on my end. But is what it is. Tried. It would have been cool to check him out. This way, maybe we could collab. But for right now, I wanna record some shorts. I wanna do like some solo play stuff. Like I think I'm gonna start with taking Banana on Mirage and probably go from there. And then as people come in, I'll probably start talking about the main topic of today, which is just like I've always been a proponent of Valve's a good company. They do good things. They're pretty player first, pretty gamer first. But lately, it doesn't seem that way. And I'll still give them a benefit of the doubt. I'm not gonna roast them over a bad year period. I don't think that's a long enough time to like go after a company's reputation. However, it kind of seems like Gabe is doing his whole sea adventure, ocean adventure, whatever you want to call it, and he left somebody else in charge, and that somebody else just doesn't give a fuck. Um, you could start with the Steam machine being how expensive it is for what you get, and then it's competing against things like PlayStation and Xbox, and I don't think that makes sense. There's a whole bunch of arguments with consoles being loss leaders, but I think with the cut that Valve gets from every video game sold on Steam, I don't see why the Steam machine can't also be a loss leader. It doesn't really make sense to me, so that comes off greedy. The fact that the last Counter-Strike post was an armory related post, I mean, I guess you could consider that 1v1 format for overtime. Um, like, I guess a gameplay post, but honestly, that feels like they watched the World Cup shootouts and they were like, what if they have that in our game? It doesn't feel like any real thought went into it whatsoever. So I kind of feel like that was a cop out take too. Um, so like it's just like this weirdness. The armory feels lazy. When the armory first came out, I was like, okay, cool. This will be like kind of like a permanent battle pass, which I'm fine with. I mean, it's greedy. Other people have been criticized for it, but they need an answer for the lawsuits and everything. So I thought like, okay, this is a slight workaround. They'll improve on it. But like I just haven't seen any effort being put into improving it, and I'm gonna make suggestions for that deeper into the video. But it's crazy to me that we have the Armory Pass, we have terminals, and we have these stickers, and they're all basically the same. Well, the terminals and the stickers are basically the same thing, but there's been no effort to try to improve on it. There's ways they can do it. I would need to look up the laws and the lawsuits, like specifically pertaining to skins and stickers and whatnot, and a lot of people will bring up the Jackass stickers, and I don't think that's a good example because the Jackass stickers were probably like over a year in the works. Like, if you're making a movie and you're trying to get partner deals for that movie and you're talking to, like, these things take a long time. I don't know the exact process with getting stickers in the game, but I imagine the movie stuff probably was, a back and forth. They had to agree on licensing agreements and whatnot, and those types of things take a long time. So it's possible that was in work for a year or more than a year, and then it came out as a result of being, if you want to think of it, of being like grandfathered in. But the thing that doesn't make sense to me is we still have sticker capsules in the store. We still have things like that in the store, and now maybe an argument can be made they're too cheap to really matter, and that's why they stay around. It's not like, But if the issue was the lawsuit, you think they'd just get rid of everything. Now, maybe it's a little bit of a risk. Like if you take out 10-year birthday capsules, is the price of 10-year birthday capsules going to fucking explode? Like, they can't just do things without putting in a decent amount of thought, and I understand that. But a lot of the decisions lately are coming off very greedy. It doesn't seem well thought out. It doesn't seem like they put a lot of time and energy into this thing. And I think at this point, with the state of the game, it would be copium to say that they're using that time and developmental, team on gameplay elements, because that just can't be it. I like the bomb change. It's cool. I like being able to see whether you're going to die or not. People say that's too noob friendly, but I think, it, you still, like, if you wait too long on the bomb site, it's not going to help you. You still need to find a spot where you still need to know where to run to be safe. This just lets you know, like, okay, for sure, I'm going to survive this round. So, but again, it's such a minor update. It changes almost nothing. If anything, the cool thing is what's in the game files, which now you can enable. You could shoot at grenades and they'll explode if they're on the ground. You can enable it if you have developer console enabled. You can type it into the developer console. You could shoot at the nades and they'll blow up in practice. But the game itself, I don't know. It just feels like nobody cares anymore. And almost feels the same way in Dota, which was like Valve's most loved game for the longest time. And that game, not that there haven't been updates, they've changed the game a lot. It's just like the battle pass type content, and whether it's free or paid, has been like just big misses. And I mean, there's so much content in that game. So as far as like skins rerunning things that people that were limited that people never had a chance to get, sure. But does that mean if they copy that model, like the Gunger's gonna come back? Are we gonna have a Dragon Lore rerun if they do that type of model? I really hope not, but who's to say? Personally, I'll start with the stickers because I've talked about it a lot and I'm just going to make it quick. I think this was a failure. Looking at the profits and what the teams got paid, I don't think this is a sustainable system. I think everyone's going to be upset with this. I think also, if you were going to do it the way that they did it, you should have incorporated a better way for the stickers to go down in price. There's no reason for stickers to be $1,700. There's no precedent for that price wise. It's not like in the past when they were sold as capsules, any sticker was that expensive. Never. I mean, even the most expensive stickers like Krakow Golds are still like $1,200. Maybe a simple one or Kenny S is like, hyper expensive, but that's a one of sticker. Now it's team stickers, which were more common in the past. And granted, everything is infinitely common because it's not like there's any real supply choke. It's just all supply is choked just based on the difficulty to get it as a result of the absurd pricing. It's not like there's a supply issue. Valve can issue out as many of these stickers as they want. And that just makes this all not work. And it's going to feel really bad. Whether or not the stickers are nice, whether or not this all ends up being a success in terms of the aftermarket pricing and everything, the actual feeling of a player looking at the sticker, saying I want it, getting priced out by a ridiculous price, and then just due to that fact, the stickers are worth $400 or $500 and they still can't afford it after the fact. Not only that, but the volume for trade is going to be so low that anyone that did buy it isn't going to feel great about, selling it. You've just created a system that it feels bad to be any type of participant in. And I don't know what I don't know what they're thinking. And I get it. It looks like they kind of changed their mind a little bit. They created a cap with the charms and the champion stickers aren't as expensive. It's $130 for the Nico, which seems, I don't mind that price. It only seems absurd because there's $1,700 stickers. But if the Nico was the most expensive sticker and it was his first major win ever and it's all this hype surrounding it and it was $130, I wouldn't be complaining. But the fact that $130 is almost cheap in the grand scheme of things with the price of these stickers, it's absolutely insane. The thing with the bomb is in Valorant. Yeah. The bomb just seems like a nice quality of life change. It's not a major gameplay update. And if you want to get into gameplay things, I personally think we need a 3-map rotation. There's 7 maps in a row in the pool. It should rotate 3 of them out, 3 new ones in. And then if a map has been in the map pool for 2 consecutive seasons, it should be forced to get the boot. And they'll have to plan that out because, there'll be 4 maps in. You can't just rotate the same 3 over and over and over again. There's going to be some maps that get rotated out because of quality issues and then come back but it forces the developers to do work to improve the game, not just keep the same 5 maps in over and over and over again and let the pro scene get stale. I am a proponent of no matter how bad Valve messes up the game, as long as the pro scene survives, the game will survive. But if you do not cultivate an environment where it feels good to try to become or be a professional player and watch professional players, then the pro scene will not survive. And Mirage has become cookie cutter Counter Strike. You're going to have Cash join the map pool. And while I don't know for sure, my prediction is it's going to be very boring to watch. It's going to be a util fest. And then not only is it that, it's going to be very hard. Like, you're going to be waiting behind smokes and setting up executes for 90% of the match. And that's if they're not rolling the dice, literally flipping a coin, going mid every other round to just see who wins the fights. I mean, I don't want pistol rounds every round, because pistol rounds are largely 50-50. It's like, oh, who's just hotter that specific in that moment between the fights. Sure, there's some strategy. You can skew that 60-40 if you have like a really good take or a really good idea. But I mean, for the most part, pistol rounds are coin flips. And it looks like the entire game is going the way of that direction. And I'm not a big fan of variance, but you should introduce a little just to make it interesting. I feel like a 3-map rotation isn't that much to ask for. We have enough maps. The amount of maps that get wasted just being into the game, no one plays it because we've been playing Mirage and Dust 2 for 15 fucking years, and then they just get sidelined and never seen again. I love the map Austria. Not a lot of people are going to agree with me. Not a lot of people are even old enough to remember Austria, but I thought that was an awesome map. Why is it gone forever? Like, there's no reason why competitive can't have 30 maps. Like, I don't know. It's weird to me. It's a kind of a fuck system. It's just like you're trying to make the game boring and repetitive. And I guess you could make an argument, you watch pro sports, they play on the same field every time. Sure. But like also they're fouling everyone in those games. There's a whole bunch of cheating, especially in the case of soccer and basketball. You think cheating's bad in Counter-Strike? Dude, watch professional sports. It's like everybody's cheating. It's actually a contest of who can cheat better. At least spin bots and trigger. Well, I'm going to actually talk about, I think the cheating is in a gray area because it is so hard to fight cheaters from a developmental standpoint without putting invasive software on someone's computer or having a ludicrous amount of false bans. But I'll tell you something that is fixable that's just being ignored. The bot problem. It is obvious what games have bots in them and what games don't in terms of deathmatch. And that's not good for the economy. It's not good for people, buying skins. And I'm not going to talk about people buying and selling because I think they're separate people. If you chose to make that your business, it's your problem, not Valve's problem to maintain the market. You've made it your problem. These are collectibles in a video game. They're meant to be fun. The only worth is what we're assigning to them as players. So if that's your business, that's your business. It has nothing to do with Valve. Valve has no responsibility to keep your business alive. You're responsible for keeping your business alive. However, the people that buy skins and want to have an enjoyable experience opening things and having cool skins and making souvenirs, they do have a responsibility to keep those people happy. And if the systems that drop skins and give you souvenirs and, you want Nico signature because the pro scene's alive and the pro scene's dying. I'm not saying the pro scene's dying, but I'm saying I think that it will if we keep this level of repetition. What are we going to be left with? And after we're all bored of saying playing the same maps with the same bots and the same cheaters and the same everything with no variation or anything to make the game, spicy and cool. Because, I mean, you could say that, what was the name of that game mode that was like, you dropped in, it was like Red Sec or like, Fortnite, I forget, I can't remember, but you might say that was a failure, but people played it. I loaded into one of those servers. There was no problem filling a lobby. So, like, I think like that Valve's too quick to kill things and not ballsy enough to force things into the game. Like, you release a map, people play the map, use whatever they'll, or just don't be afraid to release a map that's not perfect. Yeah, one major will be a little bit weird, but if you look back at Counter-Strike Go, Munzie was coming up with new broken strategies that abused in-game mechanics every single major, if not multiple times per major. And while I'm glad that's gone, nobody was complaining. Like, sure, there were like people on Twitter saying shit, but nobody was like, nah, this needs to stop. Like, Counter-Strike sucks. Like, this is all over. It was the same complaints that we're complaining about now. Cheaters, bots, and the same fucking maps over and over again. Pause. Let me read the comments. But I guess even if they fist vax, it won't change anything because the trigger can continue. They can trigger an illegal version, which would look like you'd be shooting. Look, the cheater problem is never going to get resolved. There's cheaters in every video game. I'm more aggravated, and I do think they should try, don't get me wrong, but I'm more aggravated about the obvious things, the obvious demonstrations of a lack of effort. I don't think cheating is like an obvious display of a lack of effort, because if I'm Valve and I look at all these other companies, Valorant, for example, and there's less cheaters in Valorant, but also Valorant is a way crazier game with way higher variance because of all of the abilities and everything. So if somebody was closet cheating, it'd be way harder to catch. But if you look at Valorant and stuff, they're still cheaters. So if you can't resolve the problem by doing something that maybe Valve doesn't want to do because of like company policy, i.e. an invasive anti-cheat, I don't think that they should based on just that. But the botting issue, if they are obviously bots, there's no other explanation for those players. And it like the solution for that has to be easy. I have a little bit of developer knowledge, but so I don't know the exact intricacies, but with the amount of money Valve has and the amount of money Valve makes, even if you needed a singular person to make it their life's goal just to get rid of these bots, or a singular team of people, you could pay them above minimum wage. They can get fair wages, but like it would get taken care of. I don't understand how it's a problem without a solution. It doesn't make sense. It's too obvious. It's not like sometimes when people are cheating, you can't tell. You think they're cheating, you suspect they're cheating. There's weird timings and their reaction time's a little bit too good, but there's no way to really know for sure. It might have been lag. You might have been playing against someone that just has an absurd reaction time or a hidden talent. It could happen. It's not impossible. But with the bots, it's like, that is definitely a bot. There is no situation in the world where that's not a bot. They turn 90 degrees to shoot at people, and then if they miss, like if you go off their screen, they return to walking in the direction that they were walking at. There's no way you can't develop a program to just ban anything with that play pattern. And yes, over time the bots will develop, but the more sophisticated the bots need to be, the less they'll be able to run on one computer. So where it's 5 bots to a single PC right now, if you make the bot software more sophisticated or make it have to be more sophisticated, it might only be 1 or 2 bots per computer, which overall will lower the number of bots in the game, which is a good thing for the game. Like I said, you don't need to solve the issue, just prove you're trying. It's not rocket science for that specific issue. And the same thing with the stickers. The stickers, sure, I understand you released it with this system. It's going to be very tough for you to change the system in any meaningful way while it's out, because you're going to risk hurting the people that had already made the purchase. But it didn't occur to them that the system that they're implementing, where it's 93 or 94% off for the souvenirs, if you don't weight that with a 93% like weighting or a 7%, the stickers are just going to go up uncontrollably because now you have 90 something percent off. So if that counts as a sticker purchase, which by all means, I mean, they haven't released a statement on this, but it certainly looks that way. The day one when souvenirs came out, all of the golds were the most popular stickers, meaning people were crafting souvenirs and it's counting as a purchase for a gold sticker, which drives the prices up exponentially because each of those stickers are being purchased at 90 something percent off. Then 3 of the stickers are being purchased mandatory. So let's say I'm only buying the skin for the Nico sticker. Well, now I get the team sticker and whoever they played against. I don't have a choice. I'm always getting those stickers. So even if I didn't want those stickers, and now it's just a more affordable way for me to get a Nico sticker by crafting the souvenir, well, now I've just driven the price of 2 stickers that there wasn't any demand for up artificially. So, and that's obvious. Like, whoever was designing the system, that's like one of the first thoughts I would have had. And I know some people like this system and it's fine, but what you got to ask yourself is, if I'm a new player and I'm watching my first major and I go to buy something and I see it's $1,700, how am I going to feel? Again, I get it. Some players demand a $500-$600 price, $400. It makes sense. The Holland jerseys for the World Cup, $400-$500 on StockX in America, for the black jerseys. I saw that. Makes sense. But $1,700 for generic team golds? I can't make sense of that. That'd be like buying a jersey without a signature when the Holland jersey is, let's say, $500. You buy the nameless jersey for $1,700. I can't, that wouldn't make sense. And that argument is even giving Valve the benefit of the doubt, because soccer or football, depending on where you live, is way more popular than Counter-Strike. So with that premise, none of these stickers should be anywhere near as expensive as the jersey. So, and there's unlimited supply. There's no manufacturing cost, right? Like, the jersey needs to be made and distributed. These stickers just pop, now they're on your computer. So it shows a complete and utter disconnect on the part of the developers, where it's just like, you know what? No matter what, they're going to give us money. So let's just throw shit at them and they'll pay for it. People will buy it. And that's what it feels like. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm sure there's someone with good intentions. I don't know if it's everyone. I don't know if there's somebody up top that actually is just money hungry. I don't know, but I'm sure the entire team or Gabe or Valve has done too much right for me to believe that the entire infrastructure of Valve is just down the gutter. Now, I don't know if Gabe is so focused on his maritime studies that I think if there was a private sale of Valve, we'd know about it. But if he just hired somebody to take care of the company on his behalf and now he's just completely checked out, or that 99% of people working at Valve are just all in on Deadlock, and once Deadlock comes out, we'll have a little love or TLC for Counter-Strike. I don't know. I have no idea. But as someone that plays Counter-Strike and likes Counter-Strike and wants Counter-Strike to succeed, I can only talk about how it feels and how it looks from the perspective of someone that doesn't see the whole big picture. And as a developer, that's what you need to take into account. Because, public perception is important. And I don't think the way they rolled out these stickers, the fact that terminals overall, if I'm always, right now, the Genesis terminals, you can buy every skin in the terminal for less than on CS Float or on a third-party market, or in some cases even on the Steam market, for less than what it costs in the terminal. So why would I ever buy anything in the terminal? That has to be a bad business decision, because now no one's going to buy the product that you created. Sure, there's reasons to open terminals. You can, every time you complete a terminal, you've unboxed, you don't have to purchase, but just unboxed, each skin you get extra experience points. So if you complete all the blues, the purples, the pinks, the reds, you get experience on your account, which can help you get, colored coins and such. But is that enough of a selling point? I mean, sure, but now you're not buying anything. You're not getting any skins. You're just getting account progress, which account progress isn't going to matter if the quality of the game doesn't increase. And I'll tell you, if you look at my last stream, I'm telling you, 10 games in a row, cheaters, fake accounts, bot accounts, every single game on Face It, on Premiere, in comp, in deathmatch, no matter how you play the game. And I'm an NA, but I've watched Rat streams and I've watched, Renya streams and other people stream, and they're saying similar things. The game is just cooked. And all of these things together is what the problem is. If it was just a cheating issue, if it was just a greed issue, if it was just one thing or another, you could look past it. But the state of the game as a whole right now is in the gutter. And I know everyone likes to talk about the skin market's crashing, yada yada, blah blah blah. Dude, the Pokemon market's crashing, the Magic market's crashing, every market's crashing. It's summertime. That's what happens in the summertime. The markets crash. Get over it. I don't think that's indicative of anything to do with the game. Now, maybe the Counter-Strike crash is a little more serious than those other ones, but Counter-Strike has always been more volatile than those other markets. We've had thousands of dollar swings on certain knives and certain skins. So, yeah. And then also the high-end market had a ton of money pulled out of it with the souvenir issue. I think that's a little ridiculous, because if you take it to the extreme, right? If I have a Kato 2014 souvenir with Kato 2014 foils, that is a unique item. The souvenir logo doesn't matter. It's the stickers you care about. So the fact that you can craft new souvenirs, whatever, dude. I still have one of 5 Boston 2018 souvenir op Dragon Lores. You can't create another one of those. So, like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. And yes, people will say, like, oh, well, you can't tell a fake one between a real one. Sure, if all the stickers are scraped. But if the stickers aren't scraped, let's say someone made a souvenir and then they tried to put Boston stickers on it to make it look like a Boston souvenir. Well, when you click on the souvenir, it says what game the souvenir is from, so you know that it's fake. So, like, I think that argument's a little ridiculous. I think all the souvenir Dragon Lore price crashes are a little bit over-exaggerated. Now, do I think the price was hyper-inflated more than they were worth before this happened? Yes. I think $50,000, $60,000 for some of the souvenir Dragon Lores, especially with players whose names don't matter, was ridiculous, and they were not worth that much, and it was just a stupid hype bubble. Similar to like not Poncho Pikachu, sorry, those are good, but the Van Gogh Pikachu and stuff like that. But there's marker makers that decide prices that it isn't supply and demand. And if you think the hyper rare market is supply and demand, then you're kind of a fool. I'm sorry, because if you look at things like the Van Gogh Pikachu and you just go to any vendor at a Pokemon convention, they have boxes, those little white container boxes filled with them, hundreds of them. So, and they're just deciding the prices because they're cutting off the supply. It's the same as what Valve's doing with these stickers. It's a despicable practice. It is. Everyone hates Secret Lair and Magic. Everyone hates those vendors. It's not a liked and loved practice. People hate this business practice. And for whatever reason, and I think it's just Valve has been good to us so far, so we're giving them too much. Like, we're giving them too much rope to hang themselves. And eventually I think they will hang themselves. Because if this goes the way of PlayStation and Xbox and EA games, and EA and all of them are getting away with it, so Valve tries to too, which, by the way, I don't think they're getting away with it. I think most of those companies are struggling financially. They can't keep releasing games that cost hundreds of millions, billions of dollars that just fail on release. One second. Need to re-up, re-energize, wet the palate. But if you look at these people and these skins and these companies, You've reached the point of just greed. And listen, I'm trying to be a content creator, so I understand. If you're a content creator, opening cases is your biggest draw. Like, you will not, no amount of gameplay will get you the same amount of viewers as opening 100 cases or 1,000 cases. Sure. But I'm of the opinion that we've reached a point where we cannot be giving Valve our money anymore. We need to speak with our dollars. We need to speak up. We need to say, we don't like this. And it's possible that just like the maps, Valve doesn't care. So if I look at the maps, Dust 2 is being played, so Valve doesn't take Dust 2 out. Train and Vertigo aren't being played, so they get removed and eventually just removed from the game entirely. And it's just the most popular thing wins. Always, that's it. Well, maybe Counter-Strike has been reduced to just a slot machine. And the most popular thing to do with Counter-Strike is for it to be a slot machine. So that's what Valve's focused on, the slot machine. How do we make the slot machine better? How do we make the pack of Pokemon cards better? We don't care about the gameplay. We don't care about anything because that's not what people are here for anymore. People are just here for the slot machine. The crypto bros, the finance bros, the gambling addicts. That's the people that play our game, so that's who we're focused on. Fuck the pro scene. Fuck the people that play the game for fun. Fuck the people that want to rank up. Fuck the content creators that are doing this to, whether try to make FPL or make entertaining content or coach people or whatever your niche is. But now it's just gambling, and that's how we feel about the game. And while I don't think that's true, that is how these updates come off. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the deal with your account is though, because you're saying you have other accounts. But it's just not right. It's not. This isn't behavior of a company that. It seems like a really, really direct shift. Like, Valve has always been. There's that famous quote that Gaben made that piracy isn't even in his top 10 issues. Piracy is a service problem, not a consumer problem. And like, that's a very consumer friendly statement. But when was the last time we heard anything like that? When was the last time the developers gave us anything to go off of to say like, oh hey, they're doing good stuff? When was the last time Gaben showed up in an international? When was the last time, we've heard anything or seen anything that resembles, hey, we care, we're looking after you guys? And I know Steam is incredibly friendly to game developers and also consumers with regional pricing. I get it. That hasn't changed, but it's not like it's been improved upon either. And I'm in this weird spot where I just started content creating, mostly just streaming. I want to move into the content creation side of things, and I love this game. I don't want to play anything else. But at the same time, honestly, I regret buying these armory passes. I want to give Valve as little money as possible right now. So if you're thinking about opening cases, buying anything on the Steam market, buying armory passes, buying these clone stickers, don't let the FOMO win. Don't let the fear of missing out or the profit or any of that win. If you have, the urge to buy a sticker because of FOMO, the urge to buy, go buy some stock. Go buy any other asset. Go buy some gold, go buy some silver, go buy a Pokemon card. I don't care what it is. Don't give Valve your money right now. Find another FOMO. Go get involved in that. Every market's down right now. You can go buy Pokemon cards. What stock? I don't feel comfortable giving advice like that, but if you want, I'll give you broad advice. If you want to buy stocks right now, I think manufacturing infrastructure is the next AI. You know, robotics, machining, stuff like that. That'll be the next boom. The consequence of AI is more people will make things, and then you're going to have those concepts made into actual products. Hence, manufacturing, robotics, stuff like that. That'll be the next big boom. I'm not going to give a specific stock, though. I think that's anyone that does that is weird. I think that's you're too comfortable giving people financial advice. But I will give broader advice, like I said. manufacturing, development, machining, robotics. That's the next step in this AI takeover, if you want to call it that, or AI bubble or whatever. That's the next logical uh, continuation. I don't know what you want to call it, but you can invest in things like that. If you're not comfortable picking your own stocks, there are ETFs. Just do a little bit of research. It won't take long. It's not rocket scientist. Don't try to become an expert if it's not something you're going to put the time into. Just look up. Investors Business Weekly, great publication. They're only online now, but you can, if you want to sign up for them, sign up. Or I think there's free sections that you can look at. You can get some good stock picks there. They have their 50 top stocks for growth and stuff like that. I'm confident recommending that. So that's good. And Investors Business Weekly is great because unlike things like the Wall Street Journal, they just stick to the financial side of things. They don't get like crazy. Yeah, you can look how people invest too, but I worry that stuff like, people copying the Nancy Pelosi stocks. I do wonder if there will be a long term effect with that where those types of stocks get over invested in and then it becomes like an unreliable method. So I tend not to look at those. That might not be smart on my part. I'm not an expert. I'm not claiming to be, but that kind of stuff is, just watch yourself with those. But I do think stuff like ETFs or large funds like the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq or you know larger things, global markets, stuff like that are pretty safe, and you're not going to get yourself in too much trouble with those. Um, you know, but at the moment, focus on Counter Strike. I just feel like really don't give them your money. Don't buy these jackass stickers. Don't buy these armory passes. If you have stars, don't spend them. I know it sucks. You farmed all these storms. You spent the money. Like, just don't spend them. Don't spend them. Like, they're not going to get rid of the armory pass. And if they do, they're going to warn you a year in advance with a last chance to buy. So you don't have to worry about losing the stars. Just stop spending money on this game. And I know I'm nobody. Nobody's going to listen to this. My videos on YouTube that I'm going to make about this are only going to get a couple thousand views. You know what? I'm in touch with TDM Jesus, so I might mention that I made this video to him. He probably won't watch it. I'm not like friends with him or anything, but I have communicated with him. Maybe I'll send it to Sparkles and stuff too. Who knows if they'll watch it, but uh, it's just, I don't feel like I'm being unreasonable. I've defended Valve and this game for years, a decade. And like, I defended them because I believed everything they were doing was correct and good and for the benefit of me, the the customer. But now it doesn't feel that way anymore. And I'm not going to just, blindly follow a company that I had faith in up until now because I've had faith in them. Yeah, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll say that, like, this is just a rough patch. That I'll say. I'm confident in that. But, I can't look at everything that's being done and say, oh, yes, this is for the benefit of me, the consumer. Fuck, no, it isn't, dude. Like, this is greedy as hell. And how much extra income do they think everyone has? That's $1,700 is a reasonable price for a gold. Or do they expect just nobody to buy golds that way? They're just only going to buy, through the souvenir process. Which, again, I think is a little silly because it's like we were always able to get golds in the past. And if it was an attempt to make souvenirs more unique, just make it so that we can't buy the golds. Just make it that way. Make it so that the champion sticker is the exception. We get a cool champion. Maybe you even throw in a champion team sticker. Use a little bit of your brain, a little bit of the creative juices. Don't just copy and paste into a new system with absolutely no attempt to try anything new aside from the way that it's priced. Like, dude, it just feels so lazy. Um, it feels like no effort. I mean, like, dude, the old compendiums in Dota, I can't even, like, I've said this before, but they were so awesome. And, like, maybe there was some sort of gambling element to it that I'm missing, but, like, uh, I agree, bro. Yeah, thank you, Ahmed, dude. I feel like, I don't even feel like I have any hot takes here, dude. I feel like I'm just telling it how it is. Like, Like, I mean, I love this game, but I really feel like they've like, they're just like mailing it in. Like, whoever's in charge is just barely doing anything. Like, and if I didn't take a break, come back, only see cheaters, only see bots in all my deathmatch games, only run into problems and bad, business. Like, I understand economics. Whatever the fuck this armory pass is, and the stickers and the Genesis terminals and stuff like that, that's not any sort of supply and demand. It's all made up. It's all predatory business practices. Stuff that if any other game did it, they'd be roasted and review bombed into the fucking ground on Steam. But for some reason, because I don't know if we're just so used to eating shit because the prices of the game has been so high that it's like, well, it's still high, so whatever, that we just used to it. But like, if a new game got released and it had this level of predatory monetization, dude, it would be nothing but negative reviews. There wouldn't be anything positive in the review section. It would be review bomb into the fucking ground. And I don't know where Counter Strike's at, but I don't think it's being review bombed. Yeah, very positive recent reviews. So, I mean, dude, I don't know. And it's 9, almost 10 million reviews. Very positive. Recent. I don't know how long recent counts for, but that just seems insane to me. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And we're going in a direction that scares me. Because again, with the pro scene, we're not really rotating maps. We get one new map and some minor quality of life change every season. And I like the minor quality of life change, don't get me wrong. But why not 3 maps? Why not make it interesting? Sure, again, we might have a little bit of diciness in terms of performance and balancing, but we'll work that out. You can swap those maps back out and in, and you just have a rotation of 3 maps. You make it so that they can't stay in for that long, and whether it be one seasonal rotation or two, and you just let the game be fun again. Uh, Yeah, I'm not an expert to like poppers and toast. Oh, what's up? Oh, like poppers and toast. Gotcha. Uh, but I don't know. I'm yapping. It's all right. Let's get into positives. Recommendations on how to fix it, right? The armory can pretty much, stay how it is as a permanent fixture. I don't think there's any real problem with the armory. Um, I think the Armory would have been fine if it was released in tandem with other things. If we still got, I am streaming on Twitch too. If you want to view on Twitch, um, I personally don't like changing platforms when I'm watching streamers, so I don't ask that of anybody. But if you would like to go view me on Twitch and follow me on Twitch, I would appreciate it. It does help me a lot. I'm not affiliate yet, so I could use the viewers. Like I said, I'm a new streamer. I'm just trying here. But you know, the armory, I'll even jump to the live screen. We can screen capture here. I think it's fine. There's nothing wrong with the armory. It works. It's a decent enough system. It's a good way to get charms and collection skins. I like it. But why does the armory mean that we can't have operations? What about all the gameplay features that came with operations? The little fun game modes that I can queue into with a friend, or like, the need for the the use of, what is the name of the I can't even, I'm struggling to remember what the hold up. I think it's, or maybe I have it in miscellaneous. I can't remember, dude. I'm struggling here. It was the drop-in game mode. The what was it? Dead Man mode? Was that what it? No, that's the Dead Hand Terminals what I'm thinking of. What? Oh man, I can't remember. It was Red Sec, it was Fortnite and Counter Strike. What the hell? I think I have cases. Hold up, let me see. Uh, assorted case, retrieve items. Uh, Thank you for the follower. I'm the best. Follow, I'm the best. I really appreciate it. If you're coming over from YouTube, I appreciate it even more. Danger Zone. I couldn't remember the fucking name. Danger Zone. Danger Zone. But like, you play an operation, it gets you into different game modes. There's a little story element to it. There's a little bit of effort put into the game. That's gone. Like, I don't. And because of the armory, you wouldn't even need to make operations as extravagant as they used to be. You could just, have a couple of nice gameplay features, a couple of challenges, a couple of rewards associated with the challenges, a pass, so maybe you get a badge and you can upgrade that badge the same way other ones have worked. And that'd be enough for a lot of people. And, maybe make it like $5.99 or something. I don't think people would complain about that. I think that would be perfectly fine. But for some reason, the armory means no more operations. Valve is no, we got the armory now. Why does that make sense? How does that make sense? It's not. It doesn't work. Like it's really sending messages that we don't care. Like as developers, and as far as this, like majors could be a bigger event. Majors could work like operations. Fine, you don't want to do operations. Give us a compendium. Make this whole thing a gameplay event. Like, keep the pick'ems. Let me pick'ems. Then, like, let me earn stickers. Let me earn things through playing the game or watching the major or both. Let me get something out of playing the game. Let me feel involved. The pick'ems are great, but that's all there is to this. And it's not even like, and I only have so many hours. I mean, it was better this year. I remember last year I went to work one day and I didn't have enough time to put in my pick'ems. This year it was a lot better. Time-wise, I still missed this one because I don't even remember why I just didn't put these in. But it was better. But like, how involved is this really? Like, let me pick a team like in Rocket League where they were picking World Cup teams and earn points for playing with that team as a representative of that team. And then like have some kind of reward structure for whatever team has the most points by the end of the major. They do something at the major for that team with that team. Right? Like I'm not even involved that deeply. I don't have notes. I don't have anything in front of me. I'm coming up with these right off the top of my head. It takes 5 minutes. Why can't Valve do this? Like, and I'm sure if you had a room full of people talking this out and coming up with these ideas, you'd come up with better ideas than what I'm coming up with now. But imagine, right? Like, I like M80. I'm NA. I want to see another NA team succeed. So I put the NA badge on my, I go here, I go to my inventory, and just like I have my Season 4 badge, I can display the item. Then everybody that displays their team badge accrues points for that team based on whether they win, lose, whatever, right? And then at the end of the season, the top 2 teams play the show match. Or maybe they play a unique game mode that's going to be introduced for a limited time. Or maybe, there's a special item that gets dropped at the end. Anything, show me a fucking monochrome of effort. That's all I want to see. Any amount of effort. But Valve isn't showing us any of that effort. And I don't know why. I don't know what changed in the last couple years that we get nothing anymore. There's no attempt to make the game interesting whatsoever. And while I like to say that the pro scene is alive and well and this major was pretty hyped, the viewership was good, everything was awesome, what do us have as the regular player base have? What do we get out of this? Where is the fun? Where is the enjoyment? Where is the stuff that is just for the love of the game? I don't see that anymore. It feels like, and I'm repeating myself here, they're making this game a slot machine. Just like, Pokemon's almost leaned into it, but I think Pokemon still has like a thriving community of people playing the actual game, and also the rewards are really good for people that want to play that game. But it's like they've leaned so hard into the profiting end of things when they're already a multi-billion-dollar company and they're privately owned, so it's not like they're answering to shareholders or anything like that. So I can't imagine why these types of things aren't being implemented into the game. And again, I just sat down here. The stream's been going on for 55 minutes. I'm looking over, and this is just what I came up off the top of my head. I don't work for Valve. I'm not in video game development. I just play video games for fun sometimes. I've worked in sales before, so maybe I talk a little bit better than some people and I can come up with, ideas a little bit faster. But you're not going to tell me that I'm better than people that were hired specifically to do this stuff at one of the highest, most prestigious video game companies. I refuse to believe that. And if I'm right, Valve hire me. I'll fix the game. Maybe not the cheating issue. I'm not smart enough to fix that. I'll openly say that. But I'll get the bots gone. I will fix the gameplay stuff. I will bring new players into the game. I will make majors more interesting. I'll do all that. Because in 20 minutes, I was able to rattle off more things that would improve the game than I've seen suggested by any of the CS developers in the last 5 years. Like, yes, I'm ranting. Yes, I'm mad. Yes, I'm crashing out. But the game I love is just, there's nothing left of it. I mean, like, here, I'm going to show you guys my Leadify. We'll go to just to show the type of players that are playing the game right now. They're throwaway accounts. It's like they're expecting to be banned. And I don't even know if they're getting banned. So, now we'll move on to the cheating topic. What's the difference between a CS2 major update and a flashbang? A flashbang actually does something when it lands. Yeah, you're not wrong. You know what? If there was a major update, there hasn't been a major update. They label things major updates, like when you load up into the game, it'll say CS2 major update. But is it a major update? Dude, has anything felt like a major update in the last 5 years? Besides, like, the introduction of CS2. I don't know how many people feel the same way I do. I mean, I made a post on Reddit recently. It almost has 100,000 views and over 100 likes. So I'd like to think people that agree with me. That's the most any of my Reddit posts have ever gotten. And I'm not really a Redditor. I may probably make one post a month, if even a couple a year. But, like, we're running into the realm of, are they just milking this game for money? And is it intentional? The question has to be asked. Is Gabe just doing this to explore the ocean at this point? Like, all right, whatever, I'm going to die eventually and we're coming to the end of my life. I just want to achieve what I want to do. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I'm saying it to prove the point that this is how it feels to be a Counter-Strike player right now. This is how it feels to be someone that's buying a Steam machine right now. This is how it feels to be a video game player in general right now with everything that's happening. Because, we have video games coming out that cost hundreds of millions that no one gives a fuck about. Which means we don't play those games, those companies waste money, they go out of business, those developers lose jobs. Then those companies need to scramble to make another game for less money, and then it's even worse. And you get into this kind of like snowball effect that I feel like we're in. Now, yes, Valve is a more successful video game developer, so it's a little bit different, but I feel like we've snowballed in the direction of success where they've just put it on autopilot and they're just mailing everything in now. It's like, oh, well, we've created one of the most successful monetization systems ever, so why try anymore? We've won already, we're done. That's what it feels like. I think I get a couple good videos out of this. I feel like actually that was a pretty good rant. Not that rants are ever that enjoyable, but I feel like, hopefully whoever's watching this agrees with me at least a little bit. And that's why you're here. But, dude, I'm trying to think if I could think of anything right off the top of my head for, to improve this even more. I mean, there's 100 different ways that you can incorporate the same thing as far as I do gameplay action, I receive reward. And then that reward could be anything. But I think the team thing with the badge is a real winner. I think that there's no excuse that no one at Valve could come up with that where, yet I can. What? Like, I'm nobody. Why am I coming up with this in a 5-minute session? Anyway, harping on this a little too much. Let's switch this over to Chrome. I think I'm on Reddit right now. This is the Reddit post I was talking about. 100 likes, 76,000 views, 88 comments. I mean, this I just made 5 days ago. So like obviously the community sentiment is fuck this game like right now. That's, you know, I'm not alone in this. But we'll jump over to Leadify just to talk about like what the actual CS2 experience is like right now. And kind of go over that and why I think with all these other issues, we also have a gameplay issue, and then that becomes the you know, everything feels like it's wrong. And yes, I've been on a bit of a loss streak, you know, whatever. I mean, but I'm pretty good most of the time. You know, I mean, this is like before I took a break, and then you get up here and it's just like all losses. But again, I'll defend myself. This guy has a Faceit ban for cheating, right? But he's not VAC banned. He has a 70% win rate, right? Like, I suspect this guy actually was cheating. Look at this. Look at this history. Ban, 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 ban. Like, this is a legit player. His stats aren't insane or anything. I mean, maybe his clutch rate is a little high. Maybe his aim is a little high. Nothing crazy here, right? But 70% win rate is pretty crazy, especially for a solo queue, considering a third of the games, usually, you're going to just lose because it was predetermined, you know? Like, and then the other 66%, you have kind of control over, or you're probably going to win anyway because you're someone on your team is going to carry you, right? But this guy has a Faceit ban. If I go to Faceit, he was banned for cheating, which there's no consequences for in-game on his actual Valve account, right? And he keeps the Valve account. This ban was in 2022, and he's still cheating on VAC-secured servers. There's no VAC. There is no VAC. Like, it doesn't exist. Cheaters are just allowed to cheat. And you know, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the answer for this is. But when you have this problem on top of every other problem that I'm talking about, if I go to, you know, again, even in Faceit, you think like this was a Valve game, this was a Premier game, so you'd be like, okay, well, you know, if Premier's so bad, let me just go and play Faceit. You want to see a Faceit game? Sure. All right, let's go here. Right? This is a Faceit game. Oh, I clicked on the wrong one. I'm sorry. The first Ancient game. Although that match has its fair share of suspect people. But I go in to Faceit, right? Here I am. We're in a Faceit game. This guy's Faceit 10, 2300 elo. Right? You might think, well, why is that suspicious? Okay. Faceit 10, 2100, 2300 elo. Hasn't had Leadify set up, right? Why is that suspicious? Okay, your Faceit 10, I would imagine you've used Leadify before. Is it possible that you haven't? Sure. But what does that mean? Well, Leadify can only be hooked up to one account. You can't have multiple Leadify accounts. If you have a Smurf, it can't be linked to Leadify. So, right, like, off the bat, we know that this probably isn't this person's primary account. And he's a high enough rank that it pretty much excludes Smurfing. Like, you're 2.5k elo, 2.3k, 2. He was bouncing around when I was looking at him. You know, you're past the point of being a Smurf, right? And then you click on the account. You look at his win rate. There's nothing really sus here. So then that leads to the question, what is happening here? Like, okay, this guy's probably not cheating. It's not like, you know, super weird match history or anything. I mean, it is a little. He's got very high Leadify rating for a good amount of his most recent matches. But then he's Silver Elite. He's never played Premier. You go to his Faceit profile. Okay, he's lost enough games to come down from 2400 elo in just a few days since I've played against him. Again, this isn't to say that he's cheating. It's to say that is Faceit really doing his job? Because this feels like this guy just bought his account. Now, I go to his Steam profile. 714 hours. A new Steam account. Turkey. When I go to this, it shows Turkey, 44th in the world for 34th in the region for Turkey. Nobody plays in Turkey, so getting this rank is probably not that difficult. And then you go to back here. Okay, now he has 25 friends, but at the beginning of this, he had like no friends. There's nothing but a bunch of fucking CS codes here. People calling him a cheater. I don't know if he's cheating. I mean, he played really weird. I mean, to be honest, it felt more like he was playing like a silver, like just peeking random angles and doing things and getting away with it because people weren't really ready for it. Then it feels like he was a cheater. But whether he's cheating or not, this account is weird. It's not someone's main account. So it leads you to question, well, why isn't it a main account? Was this guy cheating? Was this guy, toxic and got banned? Was this all things that are negative gameplay experience? And I don't want to be playing a game questioning the legitimacy of every single game I play. And sure, this guy popped off. He ended up winning the game we played. Whatever. I don't really care. In the case of the other one where the guy's banned, it's obvious he was cheating. But in the case of this guy, it's less obvious that he's cheating. Who the hell knows? But I do know that this, at the very least, is a bot account. It's not his main account. There's plenty of evidence against that. He doesn't have enough hours to really be at the skill level that he's representing or playing at. He's lost almost all of his most recent games, so it looks like, he's not the skill level he would need to be playing at that skill level. So it's like, we just bought our account. We're getting away with it. So why the hell wouldn't I be? You know, and, I don't know if this guy's also, like, now he's just sitting in deathmatch. So, like, maybe it's a bot also. Like, I have no idea. I have no speculation. I don't have any idea what is going on here. But all I know is in every one of my last couple Faceit games, there's one of these weird accounts. If I go to Inferno, here I won this game, so we don't have the excuse of me being biased. But we go to my team, this guy, right? Faceit 9. Really, really basic account with. Okay, never mind. Sorry, this is the wrong guy. Wrong guy. Sorry. My fault. Uh, who was it? It was one of these guys. Maybe it was him. Maybe he just got a bunch of friends. I remember I took screenshots earlier. All these people had like 5 friends. Or maybe it was this guy on the other team. Oh, yeah. Sorry, it was this guy. Same thing. Level 1, no friends, no inventory, cheater, only comment. The profile's not set up, no badges, no playtime, no nothing. It's like, where did you come from? How did you even accumulate enough time played to get Faceit 8, 9? Like, it doesn't add up. It's like, you're not on your main. You're not, oh, he's only Faceit 6. But even still, like, you're competing. You have a plus 13 clutch rating. His stats aren't that great, but like, it's just strange. Also, like, look how many people in these games don't have Leadify. And I'm not saying you have to have Leadify to be a Faceit 10. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is it's evidence that you're on an alt. And when every game that I look at has these suspicious accounts, whether I'm in Faceit, whether I'm playing matchmaking, whether I'm playing Premiere, it's not a good feeling. And again, I'm not saying every single one of these people are cheating, whether it's on Faceit or matchmaking. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is it's a really bad feeling when I have to question the integrity of every single person that plays the game. That's it doesn't feel good. And honestly, why would these people even be playing? Like, it's in this game, everybody was a new account. My entire team was a new account. Every single one of these players. This guy has 28 aim. Where did this account come from? How is he verified? It says he has 3,000 hours. Like, that doesn't add up. What, does he just leave his account on? Does he have skins? It looks like this looks like someone who opened a couple cases to improve their trust factor and gave up, like, after that. Like, all right, we got our good trust factor in, we got Prime, and then started playing. Like, and again, I feel schizo saying this, but I've made my fair share of posts defending this game. I've made my share of posts saying you're exaggerating. The cheater problem isn't as bad as you think it is. It's but 20 leadify on a brand new account, like against players that are good. Now this guy upped his level since the last time. This was a brand new account. So I don't know, like he must have just made a new account and then but I'm also saying there's a benefit to cheating on Face It. If I cheat on Face It and I get banned on Face It, I can just trade everything over to a different account. I'm not back banned as displayed by this person. If I go here and show this. This guy has been banned for cheating on Face It, and he's still allowed to play on Valve servers. Nothing stops him from doing that. And by the looks of things, he's probably cheating on Valve servers. This is the only clear definitive cheater. I want to be clear about that. I just think the new accounts and constantly seeing new accounts is indicative of some sort of issue. Maybe it's a problem I can't see, maybe it's something I don't know about, but it gives people the feeling when there's already a negative sentiment surrounding cheating, when every account you play against, when it's your 20k plus or your Face It 8, 9, 10, whenever you're in those types of play circles and you're either queued with brand new accounts, the person doesn't know what they're doing, or you're queued against the brand new accounts and they're dropping 30 bombs, it's like, what are you supposed to think? Where's your mind supposed to wander? It's not a good gameplay experience. There's no, and like logically, the only reason you'd make a bunch of accounts is for, I mean, I guess you could be a little mini case farmer yourself, but even then, how many of those accounts are you trying to play seriously on, like in Face It 10 and stuff like that? I used to have insane clutch rating too. I used to have 90 plus aim. I'm not saying that the stats alone, like you can't look at any one stat alone and say, okay, that guy's cheating, right? You have to look at the big picture. So when you look at, brand new account, no friends, no leadify, 90 plus aim, 15 plus clutch rating, 70 plus, win rate, banned on Face It. Like at that point, we're drawing conclusions this guy's a cheater. Like that is, there's enough evidence there. I'm not going to say that everyone's cheating. I don't even think out of all the people I say are cheating, they're all cheating, right? But my main point is, it doesn't feel good when every account is a new account where that looks like they're dodging something. When everyone is displaying suspicious behavior, regardless of there's as many cheaters as people think there are or not, it begins to feel like everyone's a cheater, which doesn't make for a great gameplay experience. And I'm an advocate of having multiple accounts. Go ahead, have a multiple accounts, dude. Like, if you want to farm your weekly drop, if you're like me and you have friends that are brand new to the game, and if you queue with them, you queue into 25Ks, and then, they're just getting instantly headshot and they can't play the game at all. You need a lower level account. And like, I try to win on all those accounts, but I'm not fully locked in and I'm playing with them. So like, it'll average my rank out to what it is with those players. So like, I'm not being completely dishonest, but I need an account to play with my friends. And at the end of the game, we play video games for fun. I'm not going to abandon my friends because I'm a higher rank. So yes, I have multiple accounts. I don't think having multiple accounts is wrong. But then when you change over to a place like Face It, where we're paying for a service that's supposed to provide competitive integrity, it's a different conversation. You shouldn't have multiple accounts. It should be one account. You should be, playing, and we're there to see who's the best player. Like, that is the point of Face It. So when you start polluting that environment with obviously bought accounts, with brand new accounts constantly in ranks where the hours don't add up, or, things don't stop making sense, or you're in matchmaking, you're at 20K and that's a brand new account, it raises a bunch of questions that shouldn't be there. And that's where I start to have problems. We have the problems with the monetization of the game. We have the problems with no new updates, no new meaningful content, no new meaningful changes in any way to the game. We have all of these problems compounding, and it leaves people with nothing else to think besides the developers don't care about Counter-Strike anymore. Or it is purely just a gambling mechanism for Gabe to keep buying yachts. Again, that's not what I think. That's what I'm saying it comes off as. I think Valve's a good company. I think there's probably some sort of miscommunication that's happening here. I think there's probably some sort of mismanagement, but it takes time for people to get fired or for bad actors to get rooted out of things. And that is quite possibly what's happening here right now. I don't know, but I'd like to believe that the game I love and that I've been playing for years is going to improve. Games go through ups and downs. Now, this has been, I mean, I'm going to give the first 2 years a break because I personally thought CS2 was a great change. I thought volumetrical smokes were great. I thought the subtick system was even good, which I might get a lot of slack for. Everyone's going to leave watching right now. Whatever. I thought the subtick was good because it was pretty much the same thing as like rollback in fighting games, and rollback was revolutionary. So, well, for the playback and for demo views, it was completely awful. I thought for the gameplay experience, it was pretty good, and it was only improved further by the animograph change. Now, what I will say is the animograph change brought different issues, and CS2 brought some gameplay issues. For example, here's some things that people didn't know, and I haven't seen covered on YouTube much. Animograph. That changed the head position on the models. So if you've been going for headshots and you've been missing, it might be your muscle memory aiming at where the head used to be. Because the models now have like kind of like this forward slant to them that they didn't always have, or at least it's more exaggerated than it used to be. And then if you have a Glock or an M4, when you shoot the model in the head, it has like this random variance of where the head actually goes. And it makes that second shot or the follow up headshot more difficult because the head ends up in a different place than where it should be. And that's a gameplay change, right? Well, I don't know if it's good or bad. I'm not going to say whether it's good or bad, but that did change, and now people are missing and they're looking for something to blame. Sure. The other thing that changed going from Counter Strike Go to CS2 that I don't see a lot of people talking about is the hit stun. Hit stun is a lot more dramatic, and if I'm shooting at you and you shoot me in specifically a spot, let's say I buy body armor and you shoot me in the legs, I still get the what do you call it? Like inaccuracy that comes from being shot while unarmored. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I don't know if that's intended. It's an interesting choice, I'll say that. But it's something people need to get used to, good or bad. The other thing that's changed is in Counter-Strike Go, we focus primarily on killing the person in front of us. Nowadays, that's changed. It's changed from not getting hit. So I peek a corner, I see a person, their first reaction is usually to dodge and then shoot. So now you're shooting, you miss, they strafe, they shoot, they kill you. And that is why the gunplay feels so different. Now, I will say, if you've watched, Hoonigneg has made a video on this, as well as some other creators, there is a hit registration problem. However, I only started noticing the hit registration problem during the period of time that they announced the full Source 2 server upgrades. So I think that might just be integration hiccups and weird things that need to get fixed on, like, you know, the level of the developers. And I do think they will get fixed because, you know, things just kind of smooth out over time. But there is a hit reg issue. So if you've been noticing that your sprays are missing, it's not you, it's the game. The game is a little bit fucky right now. But, or, again, I'm speculating based on what I've seen. It could be a new cheat. It could be something like that. And because of all the weird accounts, I have to question whether it's a new cheat or not. You know, like, I don't want to question that. I think it's more likely that it's just the server side upgrades, like, so the game engine changes and stuff like that, and it's just created these weird situations where when you're spraying someone, their body isn't actually where it's being displayed as it's being. But could it be a new cheat? Sure, it'd be undetectable because they could not cheat in any other way. Just make it so that their model has a weird hitbox and now you're missing all your shots and you can't explain it, so you just blame Counter-Strike 2. But it could be a new cheat. I don't know. I'm not claiming to have any sort of inside knowledge. But my point is when you add up all these little things, you get a concerned player base that doesn't know what's going on and feels like the game's falling apart, or at least I do. I don't know if you guys agree with me. I don't know how I'm gonna end up publishing this video. I'm gonna have to edit it and kind of make it. This is gonna be my first like real deep into the game, into the weeds YouTube video. But I do think it's an important conversation. I'm gonna try to bring this stuff up to some bigger content creators than me, because like I feel like some of the ideas we discussed today were pretty good, and it's like I don't know why Valve can't implement these ideas. And like again with the team things, where like let's say during the major you can equip a team and develop points for that team. That has nothing to do with gambling. It's just content. Why can't they add that to the game? Why would the lawsuits have anything to do with that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're running out of excuses. And that's where I start to have problems. It's like, just because you're running into some lawsuits and some issues, it doesn't mean you need to give up on the game entirely. The other thing is that would be a really easy thing to implement. So I can't figure that one out. But, yeah, that kind of concludes this segment. I think I'm going to end by like maybe talking about some strategies, trying to film some YouTube shorts here, because I've fallen so far behind on content, and I'm a new streamer, so I feel like the second I let my foot off the gas, I'm 10 steps behind everyone else. Sorry, I'm talking a lot. I need a little bit of water. But you know, I watched a clip of the YouTube anniversary that was pretty discouraging. They're saying there's like 6.5 million streamers. It's like you're supposed to succeed out of all that. But again, let's say you're a waiter. You know, there's probably 50 million waiters. And if you work at a nice establishment, you're in the top 10 to 5% of those waiters. So, you know, everything's relative. I try to look at it that way, and I'm just going to try to release the best content and talk about the stuff that I think is the most relevant. And hopefully that's good enough. I don't know if it will be. I can only try my best and hope that I see results. But yeah, let's go over some gameplay stuff, just so it's not all fucking doom and gloom. I'm gonna go into practice. Let's do Inferno first. I feel like Inferno is one of the best maps that you can have like solo impact. Excuse me. And we'll start on T side. So, all right, take two. Let's go. Lock in. Just because you make a mistake doesn't mean you give up. Let's get back into it. All right. At least I have a template for exactly what I want to do. All right. Recording. Take two. We fucked up. We're ignoring it. All right. These are things that you can do by yourself to win yourself rounds in your competitive matches and your premier matches and your face it matches. You're solo queued. You're tired of your teammates not communicating. You want to know, what can I do as a solo player to win more games in your matches? I'm going to go over a couple of maps, a couple of good things you can do to win more games via solo queue by yourself, with just off the sweat of your own back and brow and blood, sweat, and tears, whatever. All right. Going into practice here, just to demonstrate, we're going to start on Inferno, T side. We're going to talk about taking banana, right? You can take banana completely by yourself in most pugs. I'm not going to talk about 5v5 games. I'm talking about your solo queuing and you are just in a pug. This will work all the way up to face of 10, 25k. Everybody's scared to fight banana. You're going to take advantage of that. All right, you need one of two spawns to do this strategy. I'm going to just buy up here. All right, you need either this spawn. This is the leftmost spawn facing the grocery store in front of you, or the rightmost spawn facing the giant bee here. Those are the two spawns you could do that with. If you have this spawn that I'm standing at right now, you need to communicate to your teammates, ask them not to block you, and if you're just with a bunch of assholes, if someone does block you, you can't go for the play. You have to just abort mission, unfortunately. But with this spawn, you should be able to do it every time. No one should be able to block you. And let's get into it. So you're going to run out here. You're going to path yourself to banana. You can do this completely by yourself, and you can do it with just a molly. You don't need any other utility. I do recommend having utility deeper into the rounds, once you see how the other team's going to react. But you're going to come banana. util out immediately as soon as you take the turn, and you're going to throw this. Loosey-goosey, you don't need a lineup. You want to throw it as fast as possible as soon as you make the turn, and you just want to bounce it off of this back wall, ideally off of like this E. That's where you want it to bounce. It's going to molly off anyone that had any idea of pushing here, and what it will do is it will force them into one of two positions. If they do push, you will get a sound cue hearing that they pushed. They'll tick the molly, and you will know that they're coming here. And your job as the pusher will you want to listen for this, and you want to hold this angle here. Now, ideally you'll be up here somewhere, and this will make it so that with one of those two spawns, any of the nades that they were going to throw at would go right over your head behind you. That's why ideally you do this by yourself. And you can take this fight here, or you can take this fight here. You have whatever you're more comfortable with. The molly is going to end somewhere over here, so if they are going for this, they're going to go for it. It's not like they have the option to just sit and hide, or they might have like a weird little bit of space, but they're going to be forced into a very awkward position. So, as I'm coming up here, if I heard a tick, I'm going to take this fight. If I heard a tick and they didn't peek, I'm going to have to be aware that they could be at this angle. If I do have more utility, and I've noticed that they're retreating a lot, I can throw this nade here, catch them on the retreat, get some free damage, go up here, clear this angle. Now, this molly does nothing about anyone wanting to sit in here or sit back here, so you still do need to take this fight and clear this angle. There can be two people here. You can solve this with a car flash, right? Just throw a flash there, and now you can get up in here for free. You do need to walk forward and clear here. If you don't have teammates, jumping up on here is pretty risky because you're not going to be able to accurate while you're jumping up here, so he's going to get the first shot off on you. So just be patient and clear things one at a time. Go here. 9 times out of 10, the CTs are going to throw this smoke here. So you're going to be here alone, and you're going to take all of this space for free. You now have banana control, and your team is free to do whatever the hell your team wants. They can come banana with you. They can go take mid control. You have a lot of map control now, and you've made a lot of impact on the round all by yourself, right? So you take mid. Now, you can kind of change this utility and how you throw it, but for the most part, this molly is going to stop anyone from coming up. Now, in 5v5s, in higher ranked games where people know how to deal with this, and I'm talking higher, like you're going to be at 2500 elo, 3k elo, way up. People are going to start throwing coordinated utility strikes at you, and you're going to need to modify how you play the game. You're going to need a smoke to smoke the molly here. You're going to need, you're going to have to decide whether you're pushing through with your team and stuff. But this is just for the solo queue player that's looking to have more impact in their games. You can take banana control really easily with one molly. That's all you need. One molly and a good spawn. And that's that on Inferno. Now, I'll do one more tip and trick on Inferno because I really do want to keep it just to solo plays. I don't want to get into team stuff or meta stuff that you've already seen on YouTube, lineups, etc. All this shit you've seen already. 500 people are making shorts of every single lineup in the game. So, let's say you're a CT, you want to have impact playing A. You want to aim at the bottom third of this wall, and while you're running, just huck a smoke and throw it anywhere in this general direction. You want it to land deep enough that you can push up here and take this fight, right? You wait, always wait when you throw this smoke. You actually don't want it to land that deep. Maybe I am a little bit lower than I did, so that it lands somewhere here. Okay, this is a really bad example. I wish I land this on the first take. All right, back. Cut all this out. Editor. I don't have an editor. I'm the editor. Anyway, you're coming up here. You're on CT. You're going to throw this smoke. Aim at the bottom half of the wall. Around right before when they can see you, you're going to throw this. You're going to move forward and bank it right off the wall. It's going to land kind of deep. It's just going to block off the people. Everyone's going to spray this, at least in my experience, at my rank, people spray through this. So you're going to have to wait off the spray, let people calm down a little bit. You can mitigate this a little bit by chucking a molly down mid. Chucking a molly down mid. And it'll stop them from spraying through this. You can push up, take this fight here. Again, you don't need to get the kill. On CT, you never want to overstay your welcome. So you're going to peek this angle, take this fight. You'll have this smoke right here blocking you off. Maybe giving you a little bit of a one-way, taking this fight, leave. Right? You can now exit. Maybe you have an arch player. You can come back here. And then you can implement the the philosophy of like guerrilla warfare. So you're going to keep taking damage, throwing grenades, doing things from wherever you feel you're safe, and backing up. And maybe you don't get a kill, but you get like 50 damage on 2 players while you're backing up here, and you end in one of the strongest positions in any map in the entire game, pit. And hopefully, during this whole exchange, you maybe took a little bit of damage, you threw 2 pieces of utility, and your teammate also retreated with you. Now you have half a kit, you're still alive, you've done damage to the enemy team, and you've bought your teammates time to rotate, and you still have A-site. This is an extremely powerful position. They used to, the molly used to be pretty detrimental here, but I personally think this off angle is just as strong as pit. So, and maybe even stronger, because a lot of the apartment players at lower ranks especially are not going to clear this as they're coming out of apartments. So this is a free kill, and then the second kill is up to player skill. But you can get a lot of map control and buy a lot of time just by playing this position and using a very simple util kit mid and peeking alt mid from a pretty safe position. So that's 2 ways that you can improve your win rate on Mirage as a solo player. Let's go to a different map. I'm going to talk about one of my favorite positions, and one I think if you play this position well, you will see your win rate improve dramatically, and that is the A anchor on Ancient. So if you are the A anchor on Ancient, you're probably well aware of how bad things get when you die. So you die and you lose A-site, and usually you lose the round because the T's are going to throw a bunch of smokes, they're going to throw a bunch of utility, they're going to make it very hard for your team to retake. So what do? Alright, so you're the CT, and you're going to come out here, and you're going to throw this smoke. No, this is the worst smoke in the game. Stop throwing this smoke. It's just, I'm sure you've seen your favorite content creator say on Ancient, stop smoking B main. Well, on Anubis, stop smoking A main. This is a bad smoke. It doesn't help you. You want to play this box, because most of the time, the enemy team is not going to come A, and your util is valuable. You want to keep it. So, you play on this box. If you're playing this box, this is only one way to play, there's other ways to play the site, but if you're playing this box, you want to really play for information. You want to try to just peek a little bit, have this angle, play a little information, see if you can catch somebody off guard. When you see someone, what do? You fight for the kill. No. You're gonna peek, shoot, retreat. I don't care if you got the kill. I don't care if you didn't get the kill. You're retreating. Now, once you retreat, you're going to get behind this box, ideally somewhere in the center, and you're going to drop a smoke. Right? What does this smoke do? A couple things. It lets you can sit here in the smoke and just wait a minute, see if you hear footsteps. If you hear footsteps, you can give it a little peek and try to run away after you do a little bit more damage. That depends on if you have a mid player and someone that can help you out. If you have a player donut, I would recommend this. If you don't, I would recommend what I'm about to say. So, you do maybe you don't get a kill, worst case scenario. You peek this, you spray, you go back. You're behind the box, you have done 50 damage to the person in A main. You drop a smoke, this protects you from the molly, and you're going to retreat into Palace. Now, what does retreating into Palace do? Well, if they're rushing A main, and you're the only person playing A, you can then throw this grenade. This grenade is going to land and hit anybody coming out of A main. So let's say you do another 50 damage, or 100 damage on 3 players. You're going to now have 150 damage in the round. Sure, you didn't kill anybody, but you're not dead yourself. You've slowed down the A take dramatically, and you've only used 2 pieces of utility. Now, I can fall even further back into here. I can try to take this fight on this peanut angle. Very low chance that I die. I can get up here. I don't really like being up here because it's harder to fall off and it's a wider angle, so you can die. So just holding this, maybe you take another fight. Again, let's go with the worst case scenario. You get another 50 damage on another person. So now you fall all the way back here. You hold this. This is smoked. Well, if I don't see any shadow, I can move up a little bit so that I'm not revealed to this picture. I can aim nice and low, and I can running throw a molly. I can deny the plant on a decent portion of the site, so maybe they need to replant, and that allows my teammates to rotate. So now, what have I done? I have 1 piece of utility left, maybe a flash. Definitely a flash, that's the only piece you can have left. My teammates have now all rotated over to A. I have stalled the game out, possibly as late as 45 seconds. I'm now set up for a 5-man retake, and I've done 200 to 250 damage in the worst case scenario. That's assuming you didn't kill anyone. Now, this could go a lot better. You can get a kill when you're up front on the box. You could retreat, and maybe you get a second kill, and now it's a 3v5, and you're still alive. This is such a powerful play. It can win you whole games alone. And all you're doing is staying alive. You can go play. It's okay. I'm re-recording this. And all you're doing is staying alive. But let's say you want to play more aggressive. They haven't gone A in a bunch of rounds. You have the read in your head that they're just not going A. Or maybe there's an A lurk and you've noticed that this one guy just keeps lurking A. He keeps annoying you and you're just not, they're not pushing after you throw your util. Okay, well, I can throw this molly here. Basically, it just prevents you getting attacked on both sides. And then I can give a quick peek here. You don't want to over peek this. You don't want to give the full commitment to see if someone's on this side. You just want to take this peek and see if anyone's here. If you take this peek and someone is here, you'll start to hear footsteps. You can take the first fight, try to fall back, take a second fight, and then leave. Right? You'll get a little bit of damage, hopefully a kill or two, and it's an awkward position to defend as tease. So now you've held it down. Now, I would recommend doing this with a donut player that's aware that you're going for the strategy. But again, these are solo queue tips, so you don't even need that. It's just a good way to mix up your A play. A different variation of this would be to throw this grenade. It slows down people entering, and then you can pre-fire this. Now remember, when you pre-fire this, you cannot continue to push through, because you've made enough noise that anyone here could easily be in a position waiting for you. And these are really awkward angles to kind of fight when you're coming out of A main. Any of these, they're really like nasty. You're not, and they can be at multiple of these angles. So you really don't want to push if you're going to pre-fire. But if you don't pre-fire, you know, you can walk. You can walk out of here. You can get into this angle is a pretty nasty angle. Even just like holding against this wall is a pretty good angle. I think this is akin to like outside B doors on Dust 2. When you're holding the retake, I think this is a pretty similar angle. They're pretty dangerous though, because if you do die in those positions, you're leaving the A site completely open. I think I like the strategies where you're either just peeking here or peeking here and then going back to site. You retain enough of your util to, if they do decide to go A, hold the site. And as I said, CT side is all about stalling and making them take as long as possible and reducing the terrorist options to as few as possible so you can win the round. All right. And then, again, let's say you're on the rotate. I will give you just one piece of advice. If you throw a flash right in between here, these two pillars, you will flash the entire site and none of your teammates. That flash is amazing. It will flash everybody on A and none of your teammates that you don't want to flash. Pretty much everyone coming out of ramp is going to be full blind. You'll give your long player an opportunity and you'll give your site player an opportunity. It's way better than this flash. It's going to blind way more people. People can see that coming. That flash is far away. You want to throw it right through there. Easy peasy. And that's how you play A anchor on A. That's how you have solo impact as a CT on Ancient. It's a little bit harder to have solo impact on T side on this map, so I'm not going to get into that too much. But there is one more thing I want to go over, and that is, if you're one of these filthy, dirty con smokers on Mirage, I'm sick of seeing you in my games, so we're going to talk about it. Let's go to Mirage here. Bang. Mirage. Open up the map. So, you are a Mirage player, and you start every round on T side doing this. You go here, you line this up, you throw this, and you... Is it a jump throw? I think it's a jump throw. Yeah. And you throw this smoke. Okay. Well, it's a good smoke. I learned this smoke on TikTok. It's a really good smoke. Why wouldn't I throw this smoke? I'm going to tell you why. Because if your team decides to go A, how am I supposed to link up as a mid player? If your team decides to go A and have a mid lurk, or go B in a mid lurk, how am I supposed to defend a mid rush? Right? One of the most powerful sets of utility in Mirage is this molly and this grenade. It is one of the most powerful. I get 1 kill a game at any rank with this util. The lower the rank, the more kills I get. This util set will kill people by itself with no damage, with any other nades or utility or gunfire, right? So when your teammates are constantly smoking con and making the molly go out and making the nade go out, especially if it's not communicated, then the smoke misses. So now it's even more awkward to go up cat, and everything else is mess. So okay, I still want to smoke con though. What? How can I do that? How can I still support my team? All right. First of all, if you already have middle control, this one is super easy. You come into the left corner here. There's 2 corners here. There's one here. One here. You're going to go to the left. You're going to aim up here, and you're going to throw this smoke. This smoke's great because it assumes you already have mid control. You can go cat here. You can take a bunch of fights that aren't too awkward inside con, and top con is smoked. Sorry, that should have been over a little bit to the left. So you could take these fights, not that bad. If windows smoked, even better. And you can get up cat relatively painlessly. Now, let's say I want to have it early. I want to be able to make this play early in the game. I want to prevent a mid-rush, and I want to smoke top con. Okay, well, you can throw it from spawn also. You go here, up here. You're going to get into this corner here, right into the corner. All right. This pillar, you're going to want to aim here, left of the middle. So pretty much middle on the left side. And then you're going to W jump throw. The same way you throw the instant window smokes from spawn. W jump throw. This smoke's going to go out. It's going to bounce there. And it's going to land perfectly top con. Whoop. Let me go over there just to prove the point. And you can run out. The other thing this smoke does is it does not prevent me, as the mid player, trying to prevent the mid rush. I can still throw my molly, I can still throw my nade, I can still peek mid and fight anyone that was dumb enough to try to contest that utility. It doesn't stop any of that. The other thing about the con smoke that people don't really talk about, so the con smoke lands, you know, on this second stair here and blocks all of con, right? Well, what is one of the most common util pieces that the con player will throw? It's this smoke here. So they throw this smoke. This is pretty much smoked anyway. I come out of con, and now I'm taking this fight with my mid-window player, right? I would communicate if I'm a 2Q, but, you know, again, we're talking about you on the T side. So as a CT, I can take this fight with my mid-window player. I can clear lower. I can get a lot of value here. And your smoke did nothing to prevent that, right? I still get all of that value. So just be aware, if you're one of the people that chucks the con smoke every round, sometimes you're hurting your team by doing it. If the enemy team decides, pistol round, right? I'm on a save, and your team didn't clock that the enemy team could be on a save, and you throw that con smoke, well, they are all going to come running down mid. You're going to see it late, because this guy, they're going to get across this wall for free if you didn't throw it perfectly, right? Because now I'm not going to see them when I'm clearing this. I'm going to turn, and there's going to be 3 people here. And it's going to be a nasty situation for me, and as the mid player. If there's multiple people mid, maybe you get the trade and win the fight anyway. But if you're playing a default, where like maybe there's only 1 or 2 people mid, you're giving the enemy a free AK. The mid player is anyway, but you're causing it because now, me as the mid player, I can't throw the anti-rush util, right? I want to be able to throw my anti-rush util. So, just keep that in mind if you're a con smoker. I'll do the smokes one more time. Aim top of this palm tree. It's a little bit under. So you want to be aiming at the brown, right? Brown peak of the palm tree. You're going to let that rip. There's no jump throw. There's nothing complicated here. You're just dropping it top con. And then, again, if you want to throw it from spawn one more time, go back to spawn. You're going to get into this corner here. Very easy to throw. Middle. I'll move your crosshair just a tiny bit to the left. Aim up. W jump throw. And that also smokes top com. And then this way, your mid player can fight the mid rush. Your mid player can throw his utility, can get his damage in. He could fight con. If he likes fighting con, you know, like this is an angle that's pretty favorable for the T, right? Because you get here first almost every time. And so if you want to fight this angle, you know, it allows you to fight this angle. And, you know, mid-window smoke, everybody knows. Not going to get into that. If you want to throw something every round, hell, the cat smoke's better. Throw the cat smoke. Or the window smoke. Learn your instant window smokes. It'll make you better at the game. You should know them already. Honestly, even if you're like 10k, you should know your instant window smokes. Learn them. There's maps. Just download a workshop map and learn them. But those are what I think are your most impactful solo tips. So this is the combination of the mid-util and learning to stop throwing that freaking con smoke. On CT, just retreating as much as you can. If you want to talk about Mirage, all right, well, we'll go CT here. If you're an A player, I don't want to get into con. This is the most complicated position in the game, I think. But if you want to have impact as an in player, this A angle is one of the strongest positions in the game. You kind of want to move around here. Remember, when you're playing this position, you will be exposed to Palace. So varying yourself up with doing this jump, the way that you do that jump is if you hit control or whatever your crouch bind is at the exact same time as your jump, and you can kind of cheese your way up here. So you can vary between all of these positions while you're in here. You want to be aware that you can throw this smoke. Now, when you throw this smoke, don't move up too far because you will be visible, but you can throw it from here, and you can just bank it off there. It'll land right into window. If you find yourself in an awkward position and you're stuck on site and you have to do this yourself because you have some teammate that doesn't play A with you, just like, you know, there's ways to improvise. You don't have to do lineups that you saw on TikTok for every little thing. The other thing you can do, let's say you missed this first shot and they got out. All right, you have to hold this for a second. But if you can get here where they can't see you anymore, just crouch and throw a nade. That's going to hit everybody coming out. Same thing works with a molly. You can be in here, you can crouch and throw a molly. That's going to land here. And just molly everybody coming out here. Then you can take this fight and kill anybody that's trying to run out. Right? You can do that all without showing yourself to A main. So, you know, number one thing A players complain about is your con player not watching here or Palace, and then you get peeked from both angles and die. You have more control over that than you'd like to admit. There are ways to do it. You don't need fancy lineups. You just need a little bit of common sense and a little bit of confidence to get into positions like these. Once you realize, right, you want to throw that before you realize anyone's coming out here, but as soon as you realize that your con player or your window player basically isn't helping you on A, that you're all alone. So you can buy yourself enough time to calm that you're alone on A, and by throwing that smoke, and then you can get back into one of these positions. You can come over here, jump up here. You can get into a strong position, and you bought yourself 15 seconds with the smoke. Strong plays you can do completely on your own that will win you rounds by yourself. You're a solo queuer. You want to win more games. These are really good ways to do so. And again, remember, if you're playing this position, you know, I don't like this position, but sometimes the value in changing positions is worth it. Because, right, if I play here, I don't think this is a particularly strong position because it's very easy to be traded. It's hard to fall off. But what it does do is it makes it the next time when people come out A, they have to look here. They have to clear every single spot. If I'm swapping between here, 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 you know, up here, and I'm playing a different position every time, my enemies have to look every spot every time I come up. So there's value in changing those positions. Now, something else you can do, let's say your teammates are using good util. Sorry. First and foremost, I should have mentioned this first. If you're playing this position, every round, you flash mid. Every single round. If you get good at it, you want the flash to be as low as possible. You know, flash mid every round. You want to be doing that. And you could throw that, you know, just have it go to the palm tree. You want to be doing that for your mid-window player, because if he gets a pick early in the round, that's good for your team. 4v5s are always favorable. Do it every single round. Make them feel like they can't go mid. It's really, really a demoralizing feeling. So, always do that. Again, another thing is, if you feel like you're alone on A site, and they're going to come through, they've done a full exec, same thing you can do. Instead of the you know how I showed the molly and the nade here, you can go here, double click, left click, right click, drop a smoke right into the center of sight, and now you can freely retreat into CT. Right? You bought yourself some time. Now they can plant in that smoke. It's a little awkward. You should only be doing this if no one on your team is helping you with A. You're constantly in positions where they're doing full A takes and your team's stuck behind smokes. And I know you've been in those positions. And I know there's going to be face of 10s that tell me this smoke is bad, this smoke is whatever. Here's my counter argument. Not everyone is in face of 10. Not everyone is 25k. Sometimes people just need a strategy to account for that their teammates are not playing perfectly or the enemy isn't playing perfectly. So you need to find your center, right? And stop getting wrapped up in all these things that everyone showed you on util. You can throw util on the fly. This smoke is perfectly fine. It's not a lineup. Same thing. If you survive and you throw this smoke and then maybe like this molly if you have time and you leave and that stops them from immediately taking A and lets you preserve your life and get out, and then like, keep in mind, the reason your teammates can't link with you is because they have a smoke here and a smoke here. So you get all the way out. Those smokes are ticking down. You're buying time. And you're alive. So now you have a 5v5 retake. How many times have you been a B player on Mirage and your whole team dies? And now you have to retake with just the mid player or just the other B player, the cat player or whatever. You know, just being alive as a CT is very valuable. You can't underrate that. And get creative. Just throw util that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be a lineup. It doesn't need to be a nade you saw in a pro game. That is a great nade, and you're very safe while you throw it. You need to be a little more over to the left because you don't want the guy here to see you. But, being here, you're very safe. You can throw this. Stop this guy from peek. Whoop. I love when I mess up util on stream. You can throw this. Stop this guy from peeking you. Stop them from getting up on Tetris. You might need to take this fight. And they're going to be coming up this way too. So, again, if you're really nervous about that, left click, right click, throw the smoke in the middle, and just leave. Just leave. If they're throwing the whole kitchen sink at you, and there's another nice smoke on box to go to CT. There's actually a one way that you can throw on box, but I really want this to be simple. So there's a cheese grenade where you throw the smoke and it lands, hold up, I'll show you. I don't remember the exact lineup, but there's a cheese smoke that you could throw that lands like... Oh, did they patch it? There used to be like a cheese smoke that you could throw up here, and the smoke would cut off, like here, and you could see their feet. And it was like a cheesy one way. But basically, the point... I don't want to show lineups. Because you can go on YouTube, you can watch any short, and you can get lineups, right? I want to show you how simple it is to throw. Yes, is this smoke weak for reasons? Does this smoke have its disadvantages? Yes. But is it as disadvantageous as you and the other A player dying? No. That you being alive back here and being set up for a 5-man retake with most of your utility, or you did a bunch of damage with your utility and you threw that smoke and you lived, that is way more valuable. So I just want to get through to people that you don't need fancy lineups. You don't need big brain, huge 500 IQ plays. Sometimes a simple little smoke that lets you survive and back out of the site is sufficient to increase your chance of winning the round. Is it going to guarantee you win the round? No. Is it going to make it 100 times easier for the win round? No. But it will make it more likely when you go to retake the site that it is easier for you to do so. That's all. Also, if you're in lower ranks, getting back here, the chance that the T's greed you and take like disadvantageous fights here are huge. And then you win the man advantage that way. So it's not, I know there's lineups. I don't like talking. I know I showed 2 lineups for the top con one. That's just because I'm sick of people throwing the bottom con smoke. Because that smoke's great if you're doing a cat rush or you have a 5-man team strategy that you're going for. But if you're playing like, defaults, that smoke is terrible, dude. It's so bad, that bottom con smoke. So that's just my point. My point is, you can do a lot more than you think you can do. You're never as trapped as you think you are. Sometimes, even just, like, let's say, like, all right, sometimes people smoke a main. Like, you mess up the smoke. You could just sit in the smoke, right? This is a viable plan. And if you hear footsteps, you might be able to sneak out and catch a timing.
You know, like, this is a one and done play. You're going to do this once a game. You're not going to ever do this more than that unless, like, you're playing against clowns. But, you know, this is a valid thing that you can do. You can make it look like you messed up a smoke, messed up an A main smoke. Actually, you want to talk about messed up smokes? I'll show you a really fun thing you can do. The higher ranked the player, the better this strategy works. So you can go on Anubis, and on Anubis, there is the B main smoke. And I'm sure you've heard your favorite content creator tell you throwing the B main smoke early is terrible. You shouldn't do it. You let the enemy get into positions. Well, I'm going to show you a way you control your enemy. So, sorry, I just want my... I don't know, for some reason, there's a glitch in the game right now and my gloves don't load into CT side. So, let's say you're a CT and you want to throw the B main smoke. Well, there's a couple of things with the B main smoke. I'm just going to go over them real quick. If you don't throw it early, you can play this position here, and after you take a fight, you can bounce the smoke right off of here. It lands perfectly every single time, and it blocks off A main. So that's how you throw it safely, right? And correctly. Now, you'll notice that there is a little gap when the smoke shows up short. This one's not perfect because, like, when they're here, you'll see them. But what you can do to bait the enemy into a bad position is you can throw this smoke short, right? So if I throw this smoke so that it lands here, the enemy will know that I threw this smoke. And this is a really nasty lurk on T side. So if the T's see that the smoke is like this, they can walk through here and walk up here. And this is a really nasty lurk. A lot of T's know this. So what you can do as a CT is you can throw it on purpose. And then you can hold a bullshit angle like this, and you can catch them, right? Because this is not an angle you'd typically be holding on site. But if you throw a bad smoke, i.e. something like this, right? They'll see it's a bad smoke, and they'll try to take advantage of it. And you can take advantage of them trying to take advantage by... This is a little, like, kind of 3D chess, right? So, and then you get into a position where you've baited them out. You've baited them into the bad play. And it's a very popular play. You can do a lot. I don't recommend you doing this more than once a game. Same thing, because the second you punish them, they're not going to go for it again. But it is good on spawn. Yeah, I agree with you. You don't really want to throw any instant smokes besides, like, the spawn ones. But... my point with this is, you're kind of playing a little bit of mind games. Like, if you're a high rank, you purposely throw a bad smoke to bait the enemy into a position where you know they're going to be. So this is like, you know, normally you want this smoke to land, like, pretty deep in here. You want it to be, like, kind of, like, center, so that, like, it fills out this whole thing and it goes high enough that they can't peek over it. But if you throw it short, right, like here, what a lot of T's will do... and I noticed this on my game, they will try to lurk out this way. This is a very popular way to lurk on bad smokes. So by throwing the smoke bad on purpose and playing an off angle, you can get a free kill. That's all I'm saying. This is what I mean by playing creative Counter-Strike. You're not cookie cutter. You're not looking up every smoke in every game. You're trying to have a little bit of fun while you play. And those little creativity spikes / fun is giving you an advantage in the game, right? That's how you want to play Counter-Strike. You want to, the more you stop playing conventional Counter-Strike and start trying to have mind games, the easier it's going to be without you having, like, god tier donk aim and stuff like that. You'll still win rounds off of, you know, sure, is it a little cheesy? Yeah, but if you do these things once per game, mixed with your smoke rushes, mixed with your pop flashes, mixed with your lineups in traditional Counter-Strike, you know, you'll have a better time. You'll have an easier time winning. And these are all solo plays. You don't need a team. You don't need an execute. You just can do this by yourself to get yourself a free kill and, you know, get things done. All right, that's the end of that video. And even if I would ask my face who's level 10, he would say the same thing. Add that flash lineups are trash too. You could throw them normally, but just be creative. I don't think they're trash. I think for, you know, 70% of rounds, lineups are going to be pretty good. They're going to get the job done. But if you're not mixing in, like, the creative stuff, people are just going to get used to whatever the util you're throwing, and it's not going to be effective anymore. Like, I mean, everybody knows the counter to Mirage Smokes. You just pop a flash over the back wall, and you peek by stairs, right? It's like it's just like it's easy. It's not. Everyone knows what everyone's doing. Look at Donkey, by the way. What do you mean Donkey? What? Is it Donkey on this map? Oh, Donk. Gotcha. Yes, yes. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Yeah, I gotcha now. Sorry. I'm a little slow sometimes. Also, I've been yapping my ass off. Oh, I'm hoping this is good content. I don't know. I'm gonna have to see how these videos perform on YouTube. I think I talked about some stuff like I don't know. I feel like maybe like this is stuff that you're not gonna find on YouTube like very clearly, very easily. But maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I learned that banana take stuff. I tailored it to myself a little bit, but the essence of that Molly and stuff was from a Flom video like 5 years ago. So like even I don't even see him take banana that way anymore. So like it's kind of still it's recycled, but it's not. It's a little fresh. I put my own spin on it, especially with the car flash and some of the other stuff, the nade and all that. So I'm hoping I don't know. Maybe people see the value in it. I definitely have to get more to the content creator side of things because it's just I'm competing against too many people. I don't want to do lineups because too many people do lineups. I want to do more content like this where it's like broader gameplay tips, where it's like a little bit of fun mixed in, like um, because like I've been monitoring specific YouTube channels like Phoenix CS, right? I think he is one of the best coaches on YouTube, but his content doesn't do super well. So like even though he's one of the best coaches on YouTube, I I don't know, like it's like how do you he gets monetized by the way through like actual coaching and people paying for his coaching. So like that's he has boot camps and stuff. So like I'm not saying that he has a bad business model. I'm just saying for me personally who doesn't want to do a business model like that, I want to purely be content creation. Um and maybe I do something else in terms of a website and merch and stuff like that, but that's too far away to think about. Um but like I see his channel and the stats that his channel does and viewership and stuff like that, and I just like I'm like, damn, that's not enough viewership. So I need to figure out, what kind of content am I going to make? It's probably going to be aimed towards lower ranks, to be honest. Like, this is what you can do as a blue rank player. This is what you can do as 5K, how to get unstuck, how to, stuff like that. Because, like, there's just not enough people at the 20K and face it 10s, right? Like, how many YouTube views am I really going to get for stuff like that? So that's kind of why I think the more generic, broad stuff and solo queue type stuff is probably going to be pretty good. Um, if I can get a solid basis, like even just like minimum wage living, I will probably start a team and then we can do some content around that too. Yeah, I got you. Well, I think this whole video was like 20 minutes and I did 3 maps. So I think time wise I'm doing pretty good. And I'll probably be able to clip a couple of it into like 30-second shorts. So hopefully that works. I mean you've been here. Was it bad? Was my talking patterns pretty good? And keep in mind like I'm going to edit out a lot of the like the yeah, when I'm like this here and I can't figure out what I'm saying next. So um I'm hoping I'm hoping that works. Uh Also, like, I had all the yap at the beginning about criticizing Valve and holding them accountable for their sins. uh, but yeah, I feel like today was a good recording. I feel like wasn't a very long stream, but and I might play a little depending on. Let me see if anybody's around. Uh, no, not right now. I'm a little upset I had to retake everything, but I locked in, I got it done. It just sucks that I had to do it though. Uh, Pretty funny though. But you know, I'm pretty tired of talking now, though. Not gonna lie. And I probably have another like 4 hours of making just gameplay YouTube shorts because I'm trying to be really consistent with the just shorts. And then I gotta upload to TikTok. I gotta upload to Instagram. I gotta start figuring out. I don't know how to rage bait people on Twitter. I'm too like polite. I don't like making people upset. So like everybody on Twitter is like a shit poster or a rage baiter, and that's how they get monetized. Like if you look at like Rat or like Booty or any of the shark people, like all, and you look at any of those people, they're all like, it's always just like inflammatory, 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 and then that's how they get engagement bait. And I don't know how to do that, so it's something I'm gonna have to learn. I think my posts on Reddit have been starting to get some traction, so I might leverage Reddit a little bit, but I'm really not a Redditor. I, you know what, I would play, but after I showed you my matches on Leadify earlier, and I don't know, dude. I need a little bit of a break from the gameplay side of things. I'm sorry. I'm burnt out. All the fucking accounts that are just weird, all the cheaters, I just need a little bit of time off. I don't mind talking and trying to help people, or if someone wants a demo review or an inventory review or something like that, or they want me to talk about something specific, I'll do that. But I'm a little bit burnt out from the game side of things, and I apologize. I want to give content that people want, but yeah, go on some servers with better teammates and better ping. Uh, you know, if I had a genie that was fulfilling wishes, I'd do that. But yeah, I think uh, I think that's it for now. I think I'm gonna end the stream. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for watching. If the guy that followed, the best, is still here, thank you for the follow. I appreciate the support. Um, Again, thank everybody for tuning in. I'll be here. I might try to stream tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna actually be able to. Um, but depending on, I have some paperwork I need to file, and I don't know how long it's gonna take. It's like government paperwork. So I don't know, but I'll try to stream tomorrow, and then I'll be on for Monday for sure around 4 o'clock Eastern. And then I'll be on all night and probably try to do like a 5-6 hour stream. But thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys resonated with what I had to say today. It was a really long 3 hour yap sesh. Um, I will. Yeah, I'll do another teach session. I think I like doing this. I feel good. I feel like I got into a really good talking cadence and stuff. So again, thank you guys for tuning in.